Hello everyone and welcome. Today I'm going to talk about something very simple yet deeply profound, and that is life force energy. We're going to look at the idea of subtle energy, the various viewpoints on it, and primarily how the ancient Chinese have structured an entire mind-body practice aimed at connecting with this and cultivating this energy. So stick around and we'll dive right in. Through the sands of time and across diverse cultures spanning every corner of this earth, humanity has cherished a profound connection with some sort of universal life force energy. But what exactly is this life force energy? Well, as noted by many ancient traditions, subtle energy is the ever-present informational field that envelops and permeates all beings in the natural realm, a vital force that serves as the essence sustaining all life. Any Star Wars fans here may know this simply as the Force.
The Force is what gives the Jedi his power. It's an energy field created by all living things. It surrounds us, and penetrates us, it binds the galaxy together.
Luminous beings, Zoe, not this crude matter. You must feel the Force around you. Here, between you, me, the tree, the rock, everywhere.
In traditional ancient scrolls of Chinese medicine, however, we find that their insights regarding life force energy, what they call Qi, stretches back 5,000-6,000 years. A humble estimate for sure, because it's likely that indigenous and Shamanic peoples have traversed these realms of the profound concepts before time. Throughout our world, many terms exist for this vital life force energy, throughout the lenses of various cultures, religions, tribes, and even science. If we look at this graphic here, we can see Qi, as we mentioned, for traditional Chinese medicine, but we see in the Hindu world a Kundalini, Shakti, and Prana, which you may be familiar with if you practice yoga. You have even in the religion sense, the Holy Spirit, anointing, Shekinah, Baraka. You even have in indigenous tribes, either ancient or current, like the Polynesian Mana, or the Mayan Chulel, or Native American Iroquois Lakota terms of Orenda and Wakin. Even into the science world, we have notions such as subtle energy, orgone, dark matter, exotic matter, tachyon, torsion, bioplasma, biogravity. We have all of these terms throughout the world that people are looking at through different lenses. And there are these subtle differences through these lenses, but however, one truth remains: that there is a life force energy believed to be inherent in all things. Drawn from a cosmic, spiritual, divine source, this life force energy connects, binds, and empowers all life forms, sentient or otherwise. We have humans, animals, plants, mountains, rivers, wind, fire, earth, minerals, crystals. All matter is abundant in this resource. Much like the electromagnetic field that encircles the earth and other celestial bodies, the human form is infused with its own energetic aura. An endless flow of primeval energy streaming into our being, radiating outward into the cosmos, creating this dynamic field or matrix. You have the heavenly masculine yang energy coming from above, intertwining with the earthly feminine yin energy from below. To learn more about yin and yang, please watch this video right here. Through the practice of Qigong, however, a Chinese energy and fitness system, we seek to activate, cultivate, and utilize life force energy within, referred to as Qi. So what is Qi? Well, due to the complex nature of the written Chinese language, which are pictographs or ideograms, they can hold a multitude of meanings and be interpreted very differently from very different people. So it can be difficult, sometimes even impossible, to translate into the Western languages and concepts. Scholars, linguists, translators all work with great intentions to figure this stuff out, but can frequently find themselves just stuck in inaccuracies or maybe even misinterpretations. And at very best, just sometimes too many ways to interpret or translate something in order to pinpoint a very defined specific message. The character of Qi has been interpreted by countless researchers, with a very sincere effort to decode its mystical presence. But while many have found the commonality of life force or energy to be at the core of its meaning, some have gone even deeper to discover hundreds of possibilities. The Yellow Emperor's Classic of Medicine, just a classic text in ancient Chinese medicine, written around 2690 to 2590 BCE, before the Common Era. And it describes over 270 different possible interpretations of Qi. We're not going to go over all those, don't worry, but let's start with some basics. So Qi is commonly translated, as we said, as life force energy. All right, that essential, fundamental, natural resource within all things. Well, let's unpack this character even further. Looking at this character, we have several parts here, and we're going to break it down into 4 different components. The top line, with these 2 lines, these horizontal images, we can see as, who am I? This goes beyond our name, nationality, personality. This is truly the essence of who we are. What makes us us? What makes us unique, special? The second part underneath that, another horizontal line, can be seen as, where am I? Again, going beyond the limitations of our physical presence, not just sitting here right now, but more about our place in this existence. What are we doing with our lives? Where has our path taken us? Where does our path lead to? Are we content? Are we passionate? Are we purposeful and aligned? Below that, we have another horizontal line, but with a little hook coming out of it, representing, what am I doing? Does what we do in this life truly resonate with the who am I and the where am I? Now, these are all important questions to sit with to ensure that we are indeed on the best path for our existence. And then tucked underneath that, we have what's called a radical. This can be viewed in many ways, but we're going to look at it for now as we see the horizontal line representing the number 1, or a beginning. The vertical line being 10, maybe some would see it as 9, or the end of something. And then the 4 hash marks in the middle representing movement. Therefore, we can interpret this entire piece as being looked at as the wholeness of our existence, from the beginning through movement to completion. Now again, there's many other ways to interpret this, and an early translation, a very interesting one, looked at Qi as the concept of vapor or mist or clouds rising and floating. This gives us some insights into the very fluid and transformative nature of Qi. Something gentle, something floating, amorphous, in constant flux, immaterial. Furthermore, that addition of that radical underneath that we looked at has been depicted as a grain of rice. Now this suggests that Qi also has maybe some physical quality, something tangible, something we can touch and feel and see. So think of the transformational qualities of rice. You know, when we're making rice, when we're cooking rice, it starts as a hard, firm grain, and with the introduction of water and heat or energy, it changes and becomes softer and plumper. This simple vision of rice and vapor or steam provides very thought-provoking qualities to what we know as Qi. Just like our breath can be both physical and non-physical, physical in terms of our lungs and non-physical in terms of the air. The air can also be physical in terms of molecules, but the molecules are made of energy. So we see many different interpretations containing both of these qualities of material and immaterial. Here's another list of some of these other variations behind Qi, that where we can see some of these things coming to light. Process of transformation, breathing, the matter-energy connection, strength or moving power, that which fills the body, that which means life, a smell, an odor, a flavor, something we can sense, taste, a temperament even, a feeling or a mood or a spirit, a spiritual or an emotional connection, faith, right? Something that we can't touch or grab, but we can very much feel. Maybe a style or a habit, various qualities or nature of people or objects, destiny, fate, just life in general. Now pairing Qi with Gong as in Qigong, we often talk about it as cultivation, working with a practice or methodology. You may be familiar with the term Kung Fu. That's kind of an Americanized way of saying Gong Fu, which in another way is saying cultivating mastery over doing something. So using Gong with Qi, now we're cultivating our energy through a practice or a methodology. Now looking at this Chinese character for Gong, the first one that looks like that capital I letter, we have heaven on the top, earth on the bottom, and life, some might say, human, in between. I like to say life because it's all life. All life bridging the energies of heaven above and earth below. Not just our place in between them, but connecting the two, a bridge, a conduit helping to balance these energies. And the second part of the Gong character we can break down to be like a person and a plow, a person pushing a plow. A basic understanding of this would be cultivation, as in agriculture. More than that though, it's referring to the cultivation of one's self. Cultivation of the physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, astral, all of those other what we call subtle bodies of our entire being. This cultivation, much like plowing a field of crops, takes hard work, dedication, learning, practice, discipline. So, the Gong can be the cultivation of oneself through learning, practice, and dedication. This means that a fundamental grasp of Qigong involves harnessing the intrinsic life force within us, around us, that energy, across all dimensions of our existence. These practices enable the flow of energy throughout our entire being, nurturing optimal functionality of every system within us. With thousands of styles and forms and traditions, it's easy for anyone exploring these practices to find something and discover a path for them. It's accessible to all ages, all fitness levels, anyone with mobility issues, to help guide your spirit and your personal goals, to bring them to fruition. Whether you're seeking to build some strength, to increase mobility, reduce fatigue, it's that life force energy, the Qi, that allows us to do this. Now conversely, there are things in our lives we can do to deplete this life force energy. Living a life of excess, addiction, bad habits, eating food with little or no nutrient value, being overcaffeinated, overstimulated, staring at computer screens and TV screens all the time, unbalanced emotions, undealt with traumas, fear, not getting enough sunlight or grounding. All of these things can deplete our energy, which can lead to depression, sickness, poor sleep, fatigue. But when we begin to harness and cultivate and take charge of that life force energy, we can then turn things around and become more disciplined, more balanced, more accepting, maybe more patient, more full of purpose and passion, more vibrant, full of vitality. That is what Qigong is all about. Now, according to Dr. Roger Yanka of the Institute for Integral Qigong and Tai Chi, he talks of 3 promises of Qi. The first promise being, Qi is free. It is everywhere, and everyone has direct access to it through simple methods that are easy to learn and practice. Qi can be cultivated purposefully to resolve any challenge or enhance any function. The second promise is that every person who uses Qi cultivation methods consistently experiences some form of positive transformation and personal access to greater energy and power. And the third promise, Qi cultivation, Qigong, is easy if you let it be. Don't overcomplicate this stuff. So, I hope you now have a bit of a deeper understanding of what Qi or life force energy is, subtle energy, and ultimately Qigong and what that symbolizes. Because really it's a profound understanding of our place in this universe, how we can align ourselves to bring in greater purpose, more peace, through connecting more deeply with our inner universe, the microcosm within us, and the outer universe around us, the macrocosm, all connecting. And now, while it's not necessary to fully grasp the idea of this life force subtle energy before practicing, practicing can help unfold some of these things, but bringing these concepts into your field can only support and enhance your practice. So with that, I'll leave you with just this one last piece. May the Qi be with you.